Hello, I'm Brad Bonkowski, Ward 2 Supervisor for Carson City. Today is July 18th, and this is It's Your City. At our board meeting yesterday, we had a very long day. We were in session from 8:30 in the morning till past 6 o'clock last night. So we covered a lot of items, which I will go over briefly with you today. First, in the morning, we gave out a proclamation to the sheriff and his staff for an upcoming event called National Night Out. It's basically a celebration of drug prevention and awareness. It's held at Fuji Park. It's going to be the first week of August, and the entire city is invited to come out. In the past, they have had SWAT teams, fire trucks, helicopters, all sorts of really good things for the kids to come out and look at, and it is a family event, so I encourage you all to go. We also had a joint meeting with the Charter Review Committee. The Charter Review Committee looks at the document that the Carson City ability to govern is based off of. So it's basically like Carson City's Constitution. They review it every 2 years to see if there are any changes needed. And then they report back to the Board of Supervisors to let us know that they either have changes or don't. And if they do have changes, they explain them to us, we talk about them, and then decide if we want to send those proposed changes forward to the legislature, which is the body that would need to make those changes. At our meeting yesterday, they had one recommendation, which was to change the charter to allow the chairman of the charter or the chairman's designee to accompany city staff to the legislature on any charter issues, to be there to answer any potential questions about the changes. What we decided to do as a board, instead of actually changing the charter, is to just invite the chairman or the chairman's designee to go with staff on any issues where we felt they might be needed to answer questions. So we're going to make a change to the policies and procedures manual rather than a change to the charter. Next, we looked at the Carson City investment policy to make sure that we were happy with it, and we did approve that. So those are the guidelines that are in place to protect our liquid or cash assets. So we invest those to try to get a return on them, as a higher return as we can, but still keep the money itself safe. So if we have bonds that are issued for an improvement project, we get those bond proceeds, but then we pay them out over time. So we have that money sitting in our bank account, and then we invest that. So we do try to get a return on that. So there's a lot of thought and effort that goes into that policy. We did approve it, so you know that your money, your tax money, is safe. We then went to several items dealing with the capital improvement projects that have been proposed and approved. Basically the MAC, or multi-purpose athletic center, the animal shelter, and the corridor improvement projects for Carson Street, downtown, and Highway 50. The first item that we looked at was the timeline and construction, or proposed construction schedule, for the multi-purpose athletic complex and the animal shelter. Both of which should be designed, constructed, and ready for grand openings in mid-2016. The corridor improvements would happen after that. There's a longer design and construction phase, and they need to be designed so that the streets stay open during construction if we approve those projects. So those are pushed out a little farther, and those will happen over a longer time period, basically over 4 or 5 years. Curry Street is also included, as well as Carson Street, and a portion, about a 4-block portion of Curry Street, is included with Carson Street and Highway 50. So we did approve those tentative construction schedules. The next 6-month portion of those schedules are pretty well set. After that, they are subject to change depending on how construction goes. We also approved issuing the first bonds to finance these capital improvement projects. The total bonding that we will do will probably be in the neighborhood of 17 or 18 million. The current bond that we approved yesterday is for 13.6 million. That will cover the multi-purpose athletic complex and the animal shelter, and will get us into the design and construction phase on the corridor improvements. It will also give us about a 2 or 3 year history of the revenue that's generated by the increase in the sales tax, and then we'll make a decision on how much additional bonding we want to take on to finish the projects. We're also going to be looking for all grant opportunities and any other opportunities for revenue to fund those sources, so that we don't have to issue bond debt for those. We approved an amendment to the pre-construction contract for the multi-purpose athletic complex with Miles Construction. It was just an amendment to extend the time on that contract. We also approved a contract with a firm called Valentine Crane to finish the engineering and architectural design for the MAC. So that is now in process. Then we moved on to renaming that. We had a request from the Boys and Girls Club to rename the Pony Express Pavilion after Marv Teixeira, and so we did approve that. So the new name of that facility will be the Marv Teixeira Pavilion, which is very fitting because without Marv, that particular facility would never have been built. He was a huge advocate of the Boys and Girls Club. The Boys and Girls Club has their annual fundraiser, which is coming up the second week of September. They have that fundraiser there every year, and I think it was very appropriate to rename that structure in his honor. We also exercised the purchase option that the city held for land at the Boys and Girls Club site on Russell Way to build the multi-purpose athletic complex. So we've already paid for the option. We just exercised the option now, so the land will revert back to the city ownership. And we also approved a joint use agreement with the Boys and Girls Club. So the Boys and Girls Club will have use of the facility during their club hours. Then the city will have use, along with the Convention and Visitors Bureau, the facility on off hours, and they both have a first right of refusal. So if one party isn't using it during the time that they have dedicated to them, the other party can use it. So it's generally an agreement that the parties will sit down on a quarterly basis and schedule out use of the facility so that the public can use it, the Boys and Girls Club has the use of it, and we can also use it for tourism. Let's see. Then we moved on to setting the total number of possible building permits that can be issued for 2015 and 2016. In recent years, we haven't come close to the maximum number of permits allowable. For 2015, the number of permits was set at 647, and for 2016, it's set at 667. The last time that we came close to reaching those numbers was in 1996. So it's been a while, but construction numbers are increasing. So we are seeing some construction activity out there, which of course is good for the city. After that, we adjourned for the morning session. We came back after lunch and we held interviews for 3 vacant positions on the Visitors Bureau Commission, or board on the Bureau, excuse me. And after interviewing all the applicants, we selected Jonathan Boulware to be reappointed as the chairman, Stan Jones as the citizen at large, and Renee Plain for other commercial interests. So congratulations to the 3 of you. I know that you will all do a very good job, and all of the applicants were very well qualified. Then the rest of the afternoon was taken up with hearing 2 development projects that had come through the Planning Department and come through the Planning Commission. They came to the board for final approval. And there were several hours of testimony on both development projects, but at the end of the day, both projects were tabled pending some additional information on both projects that we felt was needed to be able to make proper decisions on those projects. So those will come back at some point in the future to be reheard. And that was our day in a nutshell. Have a great weekend, although you probably won't see this until Monday, and I will talk to you in a few weeks. Thank you very much.